Okay, so let oh man. Let's see. I gotta be careful of what I'm about to say. But and I mean, I get it. This might come off as being snarky, but we're gonna call her the 4chan Woman of the Month, Stormfront.
Stormfront. Yes.
Go ahead, bro.
I thought Stormfront brought a good dynamic to the show for season two. Not only just because of her story, but the way she bounced off different characters and the way she was making commentary on how social media plays in our lives each and every
Hmm.
day, and how she was able to manipulate others with it, how she was able to manipulate the opinion of the public with her looks, her demeanor, and her in marketing. From one end of the season to the next, she completely flipped her opinions and views on certain things, and it
Man,
still didn't even matter because they had so much love for her that they were almost in a trance, mesmerized by her. You know, her interaction with Homelander, replacing that bot CEO from the previous season, grounding him a bit, but also
hmm
using him for her own wants and needs as well. You know what I'm saying? And her being that Nazi, having that Nazi origin, and being that first test subject of Compound V and all of that. I thought that was a good twist. I'm not sure if how comic accurate it is, whatever. I know the character is originally male, is a guy in the comics, so I thought that was a good conscious decision by the writers to gender
exactly,
bend that. That's what I'm talking
exactly.
about. Yeah, yeah.
And for any reference, just go through the files, and you'll hear it on behind the scene. Not that I'm trying to take credit or trying to say that we predicted anything like that, but that's a prime example of how a live action interpretation of the source material does not always have to be a one for one adaptation. But go ahead, continue, brother.
That actress killed it. Girls Get It Done on the season finale was fucking excellent. Her getting that ass whooping, getting curb stomped by Maeve, Starlight, Kimiko. That was like, yo, yeah, she needed that. As an
Okay.
audience,
Yep.
we wanted to see it that badly, and they delivered on that. I know some people were snarky about it. That's how you get a female empowerment scene done, Marvel, with Endgame,
Oh my
that
God.
forced scene. This is how you do it. Okay, man.
Okay.
Everyone has
Well,
their own taste and how they
right.
deliver it.
Hashtag fan service, because there's a
Fans,
difference. There's a difference, right? Fan
right,
service
right.
goes in different categories now, even though whatever, man. Whatever. All right. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
Go
All
ahead.
right, man. But yeah, Girls Get It Done. That was what's up with her. And I'm not sure if this is the end that we see of her because we're not sure if she lived or she died or how incapacitated she is now with her injuries. So I'm not sure this is. I don't think this is the end of Stormfront. I think she'll definitely be in some form of way back. I think Stormfront was a highlight for this
Okay.
season and it helped different from the first season.
So,
What's your take, man?
well, okay. Well, I have a couple questions about Stormfront and just the way that we were meant to perceive her prior to the show premiering, right? And I mean, again, this also goes to a credit to the people behind the show because they did this right, right?
Right.
Prior to the premiere of this new season, there wasn't a lot of promo. We went into this season not really knowing what was about to happen, right? There was no full length season promo for the show. There were maybe two promos I seen on YouTube, and then it premiered, and boom, you go ahead and watch it, right?
Right.
But what I will applaud in that the marketing for this season and the first introduction, the first trailer, the first promo that we seen for the character of Stormfront presented her as a completely different type of character, right? and,
Right.
and, and, and just follow me for a second because I'm still trying to ask a question, but it might be a little long winded, right? But
Yeah.
when you see a character who is a female, also they mentioned that she was from Seattle, Washington. They mentioned she was from Seattle, Washington. You see the haircut, half buzz, half you see the haircut. You see that she's an outward kind of standing up for herself type of female character. From the outside looking in, the first impression of the character is that she was meant to kind of be presented as a SJW type character. And I don't like to use that abbreviation. I'm not a fan of that abbreviation. But I'm only using that for to serve the purpose of the way that the perception of the character was prior to the show actually starting and us seeing the character develop. Initially, I thought that the character of Stormfront was meant to provide balance and kind of call out other characters on some of the things that she actually stood for. Now, how do you feel about that? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Did you kind of pick up the same vibe that I did? Because I actually ended up being surprised by the development of the character.
To be honest, it was like, okay, this is pretty blatant right here. She is obviously a take on this YouTube culture of SJW hating and Captain Marvel, Brie Larson hating kind. She was basically parodying that and being like an homage to that kind of character. We thought she was a hardcore feminist, you know what I'm saying? Pink hat wearing, gonna put Homelander in his place, and we can't
Right.
wait for Homelander to beat the shit out of her because she's sticking up to him and sticking up to Vought, and and she's, you said, calling out other characters. So for them to portray her and market her that way initially, thinking that she was going to bring some sort of balance or levity to the rest of the cast, and actually switching it up later on was like, oh, this is something I didn't see before. This is a twist. This is. I think that was a good move. I think that was a good twist to her, and it was something you. Again, I didn't read the comic, but I think it's something where even if you were a hardcore fan, you read all the comic material, I don't think you could really have seen the clear direction of where they were going from the way they were presenting her at first.
And not only that, but like it's crazy how sometimes the plot twist or the surprise is in front of you, right? You think
Right.
about the name of the character. The name of the character is Stormfront. So throughout the course of the season, we learned that this character is over 100 years old. She's been
Mhm.
around for a very long time, long
Right.
enough to where she's able to gauge the way that people think, long enough to where she's able to at least be aware of the way that the world changes over the
Hmm.
course of time. And without getting too far into the weeds, because that's not what I'm trying to do right now. But is it really too far fetched to believe that in 2020 that a white woman could pose as being someone who stands up for equality, someone who is there to supposedly fight the storm of discrimination and the storm of, I'm not going to say toxic masculinity, but that kind of behavior, right? To pretend to be in front of the storm of bad behavior and something that would be viewed as outdated views. Is it
Right.
too hard to believe? Is it far fetched to believe that somebody who goes out of their way to appear to be against all of that could really be an agent for the other team?
With the kind of year that we're having and the kind of things that we've seen, the kind of shit we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years, it's very possible. It's very realistic, really realistic.
Yes.
And speak of the subject, we're talking about Stormfront. There was a group of fans, group of people
Uh
who
huh.
was liking the boys, digging the show, all until that one episode. And you know what episode I'm talking about. The one episode where one of her fans
Yep.
listened to her propaganda day after day, minute after minute, took up on arms to keep America safe,
Hmm.
took out took out a person of color at a gas station because he thought this was a threat. And I am
Right.
contributing to America and I'm contributing to my country and Stormfront's fight against evil. Thought he was a good guy. Thought he was doing his shit, right? After seeing that, some fans like, oh, the comic's better. The comic's better. This show sucks. This show sucks. This is why I don't
Oh,
watch
shit.
entertainment anymore. This is why I don't watch
Right.
movies and TV show anymore. It's like y'all just now getting like I mean they make fun of both sides here, like they're making fun of everything. But
Right.
this one hit a little bit home because that was you in the episode
Yeah,
to a certain
man.
degree.
Man,
Like
that's a whole that's facts plus tax right there, man. Yeah, I agree with you. So to answer your question, my take on the character Stormfront is that as far as execution, towards the end, she went off of the rails. She definitely went off the rails towards the end. Her character took a turn towards the end to where you knew that whatever was gonna happen to her, she had it coming.
right.
The reveal, I'm gonna give the reveal about an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. The reveal definitely hit because I didn't expect it. I knew that she wasn't all the way on the up and up, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't expect it to run that deep. And the way that it was executed, I can't say that, and it's weird for me to say this because I didn't like the character at all. But
Mm-hmm.
I like that I didn't like the character because too often you get villains who are positioned as being cool, or you get
Uh-huh.
villains who are being positioned as having a quality that is redeemable, or having a quality that makes them cool, quote unquote, right?
Right.
There was nothing cool about her.
She was a little bit old school. I see what you're saying in terms of
She
her villainy.
Yes, and that's something that I like. I can appreciate a good bad guy
Uh-huh.
every now and then because nowadays in popular media in in this current climate, in this current culture, everybody's an anti-hero, right? So, and I
Right.
mean this is my one wrestling reference per episode here, but
Go
but
ahead.
in terms of like the way that we view the good guys and the bad guys, everybody in wrestling now is a cool bad guy. There's
Mm-hmm.
just certain degrees of it, right? The
Right.
the 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 guys who everybody likes are still bad guys. They're just cooler than the other bad guys. I
Mm-hmm.
can appreciate that. I really did not like of Stormfront. There was nothing likable about her whatsoever, and that's a credit to the way that the character was written and the way that the character was actually portrayed. Because Homelander, while still maybe a bad guy, like you were saying, there's traces of an actual person in there because he
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been around as long. Regardless of how you feel about Homelander, he never had to pretend to be somebody else in order to for you to feel a certain way about him. The character of Stormfront literally pretended to be someone else and then revealed who she actually was. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the while, initially being presented as some. Oh man, the mind fuckery here is amazing.
It is, dude.
The mind fuck here is on level 10 because on the surface of it, like you were saying, some of the main people who liked the character were initially meant to not like her because of the way that she was marketed.
Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, So that within itself is a victory for the effectiveness of the villain. You knew she was gonna get what she had coming, and you enjoyed the process of her getting to the point where she got what she had coming.
And I one of the things I did, like you said, appreciated was that she was a straight up irredeemable villain. And that's what I liked about the character of Stormfront in this. She was actually a villain you loved to hate, and she
Mm-hmm.
did a good job of that. She escaped every little thing that they could have done to her. She was strong, she was powerful. You know, Homelander could go rough on her, and she could take it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was a fair tactic because she could take on Starlight. You know, she could take on Kimiko. She could take on Queen Maeve. She could, like she could hold her own and
Mm-hmm.
and beat a majority of the cast of the characters. So
Right.
that she was a threat on a physical front, and she was a threat behind the scenes on a political front as well. So she was literally a double-edged sword in the season. So when everything fell apart for her near that end, it was a justified ass kicking that you really relished in. You know, you enjoyed that shit when they
Yep.
triple team her. I mean, they put the stone cold boot on her ass, man. Bro, real talk,
Yo,
man. Girls get it done, yo.
right.
So
To the point where, I mean, it was the ass whooping was good enough to the point where I didn't even get bothered by that corny ass line.